Hey, this is IndigoMusic.com. I'm Rohit, and it's time for yet another edition of Xperience Sessions. And joining me are, I would say, two legends when it comes to the music industry. I'm talking about Suraj and Chris. Welcome to IndigoMusic.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that great introduction, Rohit. And it, as usual, feels brilliant to be on your show, and it's a privilege and a pleasure.
Well, Chris, it's our pleasure as well to have you on the show. Now, Chris, let's start off with you, because Euphoria as a band was huge back in the day, and Bandish as well. Now, from being, in a band to now going, collaborating with other artists like Suraj and other people, what made you take this transition, and how has this transition been?
So life has been a roller coaster ride over the past 24 years or 25 years, so to say. And as we all know, Euphoria was a brand, is still a brand, and that was one band that created history in its time. Way back from 1995.
Yeah.
So there was this time where everything was going perfect. That era of music was going perfect. But somehow over the period of 2010 onwards, things started to get a bit down in the music industry, whereas the film industry actually took over.
Yeah.
And the independent music side of things, like bands and artists and everything, were kind of dropping in their own creativity space, in their zones. They were basically being, if you ask me, they were basically being kicked out from what they were doing best.
Yeah.
Because once the film industry invaded that television space, we had an MTV, we had a Channel V, we had the media who would cover a band. You do a concert in one city, and you're coming back in your flight or a train. You open the newspapers and you would bang on right there.
Yeah.
Band rock the night or whatever it was. And similarly, you put a Channel V on, your songs were there. You put an MTV. Things changed over the years, and then bands started to disintegrate. People started to venture out doing independent things by themselves, trying to create a mark for themselves. I am one such guy that had to drop out from that because things were working out differently, not as a band anymore.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, my journey as an independent artist has been quite a ride over a period of 8 to 10 years, I would say. But I'm very happy that today I have been able to collaborate with some of the best musicians in the industry.
Right.
I'm really blessed to be able to, and then I've had this opportunity and a chance to explore my musical abilities, as not just a drummer of Euphoria or a drummer of Bandish, but I got to write my own songs. I got to compose and produce, it brought a songwriter out of me. And then collaborating with people like Suraj and Luke, and I've even done a track with Shubha Mudgalji, and there's a list of people. It's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot as an artist, as a musician, to be a more varied musician, to be able to, discover yourself as an artist. I'm
Right.
very, very happy that I had taken this step that time. And today I feel very blessed working with people like Suraj Jagan.
Right. And before you joined, Chris, Suraj was discussing about how hard it is to create a band and maintain a band in this day and age.
Yes.
Now, Suraj, you made that transition earlier on to, like Chris was saying, to Bollywood, to songs
Right.
from, I think Three Idiots, your song from there, which gave you this big deal. Now, how has it been for you working, from a band to being in Bollywood as a playback singer?
See, I've always been a band guy.
Yeah.
I still am. And the reason I started singing was because I wanted to be in a rock band. And that hasn't changed at all. So everything else that happened was a result of me having decided to be a singer in a rock band. And I had no inclination towards singing for films or jingles or anything like that.
Yeah.
Those are things that just happened as a result of my being in a rock band. People who used to play in the bands, they went out and started doing jingles, and they called me, and that's how those things happened. So Bollywood was never in my sights because I thought you needed to be a very trained singer to be able to be a playback singer, and not that I wanted to be one, but it just happened. So I still am that same band guy. So at heart, I'm still the band. Even when I go solo, when I do my shows, which are solo shows with my name, and I have a band backing me up. It's a rock band,
Yeah.
but the whole vibe of the thing is like they all feel like they're part of a band and not backing some playback singer. That's how it is. Like that's how I like it. And like for instance, when we stay wherever I stay is where the band stays. Like I stay in a 5-star hotel, the band has to be in the same hotel, not in some other place. So they're not treated like session guys or backup singer, backup musicians or anything.
Right. Right, and let's talk about the track Bezubani, a collaboration between Suraj and Chris. What is this track all about? Who came up with the lyrics and who came up with the production? Talk us through this whole track.
Okay, so Bezubani is actually my own song. It's written, composed, produced by me, and the song came about from a very a true experience that I've had. Very much at a red light intersection, when I was driving and we stopped, there was this little girl selling balloons, on the street, and tapping on each one's window saying, ek balloon le lo bhaiya, ek balloon le lo didi types. And the way how people were showing her away from that little thing. But the whole deal was she had this beautiful smile and she kept, tapping on every door until she seen some other kids sitting in some high-end car and eating their ice creams and chocolates. And as soon as they see them, they hide it. So those were very to see that sadness in her face, and to make her realize, and the things that we saw from out there was what an underprivileged life that child is living. She deserves the best of all kids in that position deserve the best. Nothing wrong with that in terms of living a life, but it does touch you somewhere and feel that in our own selfish world we are not ready to extend or show some compassion or show some kind of helping hand or give a helping hand to that child or anybody for that matter. And what touched and happened after that was when the light became green, the kid was away, and then she came back with the same smile, trying to sell her balloons all over again to a different set of people in their cars. So that gave me this whole vibe of understanding that there is hope. She hasn't given up. She fought back. She came back with the same smile, assuming and believing that somebody out there is going to buy my balloons, somebody out there is going to show some care. That is where I got my inspiration for Bezubani. So when I apply that thought to myself, it happens that we have our challenges. Every day of our life is a challenge.
Yeah.
And how we go about it, how we strive, how we struggle. At the end of the day, we want to make something happen. And if we have spent a great deal of a number of years trying to reach our goals and touch our dreams and everything that we feel for a better life or for a better understanding of life, it's always good to never give up. It's always good to you fall, you stand up, you stumble, you stand up. You just got to go out there and keep getting it. It's how it is. So there are people who start their day in that manner. So Bezubani talks about exactly that kind of an emotion, where you say, you tell the universe, what have I done? Why am I so the underprivileged? Or why am I working so hard and I'm not being able to get what I deserve?
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's Bezubani.
Wow.
Now coming to the person involved,
yes.
The voice of this song was very critical for me.
Okay.
And that's when Suraj Jagan had come into this whole picture of, I used to love a song called Give Me Some Sunshine.
Yeah.
It was epic. It still is epic.
Yeah.
And to know, apart from Three Idiots being a successful movie, this song was a part of that success. This song made that entire movie look even bigger.
Yeah.
It was very subjective. It was very short and everything. But the voice traveled the world. Today, it's one of the best songs you hear. Anyone sitting with their acoustic guitar, it's a bonfire song, man. Everybody singing it. Yeah. That's how Suraj shines out, because there hasn't been a voice like that. So Bezubani ke liye, I was like, dude, I want this voice. Yehi gana, this guy who sang this, I want this. And coincidentally, we have a common friend by the name of Jason Mariano. He plays keyboards with Suraj's band sometimes. And he said, Chris, why don't you talk to Suraj directly? And then Jason put it across to Suraj, listen, this guy is going to talk to you. And Suraj will tell you the rest, I
Yeah,
guess.
and Suraj, when you got that call, what happened? How did you, what made you say yes?
So see, for me, it's I didn't know Chris at all. I mean, like
Do that.
uh, I'd heard of him, but like not we had never met or anything like that. So whenever someone calls me for a song, for me the first thing is it's all about the song. So if the song captures my heart, I go for it. I mean, then there is no question about uh, who and what and everything. But there was something that happened which rarely happens. At least with me, it's not happened. That we started talking on the phone, Chris and I, and he was explaining things about the song and things like that. And somehow the whole comfort level was such that as if like we were friends from years back. You know, it's very rare that happens when especially at this age. I mean, these kind of things happen when you're a kid or when you're in college or whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's amazing the connection that happened, and that really helped in where the song is concerned. When you're on the same wavelength, a lot of things don't even need to be said. Like for instance, Chris told me, just go ahead and do your thing. So I was like, okay. Like in the beginning, he didn't give me any instructions as to how the song has to be sung and things like that. And for me, that gives me a lot of freedom to do, explore it the way I want to, because once those parameters are set, you try to work within that and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, the way it came out, was because of that connection that happened with us, and he got what he wanted, and without even telling me what to do.
Absolutely.
And it happened in one take, which was amazing for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. See,
I think it's
that's
all
the kind
about
of
that connection that when you feel the first time between two artists, I think that's what would have worked even in this case, I guess. What do you think, Chris?
it was absolutely magical, like he was saying. I mean, we don't know each other. We may have crossed paths over the last 25, 30 years, somewhere. But I knew there was a Suraj Jagan around, because he had a fantastic band that time. There was Crisis, there was Chakravyuh. Then he got into the movies, So we knew these bands were existent. And then, of course, they knew there was a Euphoria around. But then I'm sure he didn't know there's a Chris Powell around who's the drummer of Euphoria.
Right.
So we may have crossed paths, but that's about it. So when we met and we started talking, it was absolutely like, good God, हम किसी कुंभ के मेले में बिछड़ के अभी आए वापस. It was...
But yeah, I mean, the song speaks for itself. It sounds really great, and we're going to be playing it out on air, on radio in both Bangalore and in Goa on indigomusic.com. And once again, Suraj and Chris, thank you so much for taking some time out, having this chat, talking to me about Bezubani, and all the best for your songs, and hope to see many, many more collaborations between you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting us, and looking forward to listening to the song on your channel.
For sure. We'll do that. Thank you so much, guys. It was
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.